Welcome back, everyone, to the 5th Annual International Symposium on Media Education and Research, ISMER 2026, right here at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Kochi campus. I hope you're ready because we are moving straight into the intellectual heart of day one. Our first panel discussion is themed Beyond Classroom Walls, Media Pedagogy for Responsible Citizens. To lead this vital conversation, it is my distinct honor to introduce a personality who is an integral part of our own academic fabric. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, Dr. N.V. Sridharan. Dr. Sridharan is a professor and a research guide at the Department of Visual Media and Communication here at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Kochi campus. With a PhD in management and over 2 decades of teaching experience, his career is nothing short of distinguished. Spanning 35 years with the Ministry of Education, including a significant tenure as a joint registrar at IGNOU. He is a prolific author, a scholar of consumer behavior, and a passionate advocate for literature and the film society movement. Sir, we are honored to have you steer this session. Joining Dr. Sridharan sir on stage, we have a truly stellar lineup of experts. Dr. Shakila T. Shamsu, former OSD NEP with the Ministry of Education. Dr. Shakila Shamsu. Dr. Shakila Shamsu, a distinguished education policy expert and a key architect of India's National Education Policy 2020. Former officer on special duty at the Ministry of Education, Government of India. She served as secretary to the NEP Drafting Committee, playing a pivotal role in shaping the future of education in the country. With nearly 4 decades of experience across education and public policy, she continues to guide governments and institutions in implementing transformative reforms. We are truly honored to welcome Dr. Shakila Shamsu to ISMER 2026 at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Kochi campus. Next is Dr. Arun Shyamnath, Deputy Director, Kerala State Planning Board. Dr. Arun Shyamnath. Dr. Arun Shyamnath is Deputy Director at the Kerala State Planning Board with over 15 years in public policy and project management. A media professional for 24 years, Dr. Arun Shyamnath has anchored and presented on channels including Doordarshan, Kairali TV and ACV and appeared in films, serials and advertisements. Holding advanced degrees in economics, management, journalism and public policy, Dr. Arun Shyamnath has authored 12 publications in English and Malayalam. We are truly honored to welcome Dr. Arun Shyamnath to ISMER 2026 at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Kochi campus. Next, we have Dr. S. Arulchelvan, Professor and Head of the Department of Media Sciences, Anna University. Dr. S. Arulchelvan. Dr. S. Arulchelvan, an eminent academician, researcher, and former journalist, Professor and Head of Media Sciences at Anna University, Chennai. He also serves as Director of the Educational Multimedia Research Center and leads several impactful media initiatives. A recipient of prestigious honors including the Best Young Educationalist Award, Best Science Communicator Award, and Best Media Academic Award, along with multiple international fellowships, his contribution to media education and development communication are widely recognized. With numerous research publications, doctoral guidance, and many other achievements, he continues to inspire the next generation. We are truly honored to welcome Dr. S. Arulchelvan to ISMER 2026, Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Kochi campus. Next, we have Dr. Jayaprakash CR, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Communication, PSG College of Arts and Science. Dr. Jayaprakash CR. Dr. Jayaprakash CR is Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Communication at PSG College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. He holds a PhD in Environmental Communication and has led funded projects with the Wildlife Conservation Society and the Center for Science and Environment. A former journalist, Dr. Jayaprakash CR has published widely, delivered lectures at over 125 institutions, and chaired national and international conference sessions. Recognized for contributions to media literacy, environmental communication, and climate smart practices, his work continues to create meaningful impact. We are truly honored to welcome Dr. Jayaprakash CR to ISMER 2026 at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, Kochi campus. With such a distinguished panel of experts before us, there is truly no better suited to navigate this dialogue. Dr. N.V. Sridharan sir, I most respectfully invite you to take the chair, set the stage for our esteemed guests, and initiate this groundbreaking session of ISMER 2026. The stage and our rapt attention are yours, sir.
Good morning. Most of the points we are supposed to discuss have been discussed by Vasanthi Madam and Dhanraj sir. And that's why we have to continue our discussion on what already have been discussed by these two eminent personalities. And I'll start with Shakila Madam from what Dhanraj sir said about Habermas. The topic of our panel discussion is Beyond Walls, Media Pedagogy for Responsible Citizens. When you look at pedagogy, we generally mean the pattern of instruction, the whole host of activities connected with the learning teaching processes, and what will be the outcome of all these processes. That's what we mean by pedagogy. And the title is Media Pedagogy for Responsible Citizens. When you talk about responsible citizens, we have to discuss democracy, we have to discuss the public sphere. And coming to what Dhanraj sir said about Habermas, how can we enlarge the public sphere? Or how can we start conversing with each other so that the democratic pillars can be all the more strengthened? That's my question to Shakila Madam.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Sridharan, and let me thank the organizers here, including the Dean, Krishna Kumarji, and of course, Dinesh, Bala, earlier in the inaugural address, Dr. Dhanu and Vasanthi who are here, and my fellow panelists. Firstly, let me say that for this conference, I was amazed at the visual impact that I got when I entered this hall by seeing all these blocks of the SDGs and also the flags representing those SDGs. I must really congratulate that impact because I think it situates us in this context of really looking at all these intersections that Vasanthi and Dr. Dhanu mentioned in the morning about things that matter within the larger ecosystem of the society. Now, in terms of what media education is really undergoing today, I do know that this department has been doing excellently in terms of trying to look at the interdisciplinarity of media education by looking at its intersections with public policy, looking at it in terms of the real craft of the media itself, whether it is in terms of journalism, whether it's in terms of digital communication and so on. But when we look at a conference of this kind or a symposium of this kind, the question is of provoking young minds and all of us who are in a journey as we go along to look at how we can sort of go beyond just media literacy to maybe becoming very critical in looking at media literacy. How do we become more critical? Say a news item that comes in. We are living, as Dr. Dhanu rightly said, it's not just the West Asian war that's happening or the Russia-Ukraine war that's happening. And the entire geopolitical situation there has sort of precipitated a society which seems to be in a state of strife. And when I say it's a state of strife, what Sridharanji is asking in terms of the democratic aspects of it, the two narratives actually put the media as very, very important and significant in helping each one in not just forming the opinions, but actually influencing the others. So when you get into conversations, like this is a formal conversation, but you get into informal conversations with the person who drives a Uber car, you get into informal conversations with someone you're traveling in the train or the flight, and you find inevitably that the conversations come across what are contemporary events which really impact the lives of each and every one of us. Now, as an institution that is promoting media education, it is very significant to have the democratic thought process firstly instilled in all of us, to be able to have a view and a counter view and still be comfortable about it. The world is actually moving to a situation where we are not able to accept dissent. Moment you cease to accept dissent, democracy ends. And so when he is saying about how do we look at entire media studies in a democratic space that we are talking about, democracy does not give in a sense of irresponsibility. Democracy gives us a more heightened sense of social responsibility. And therefore, when we are looking at voices, how it is represented, whether it is coming through WhatsApp, whether it's coming through a TV show that is happening, or whether it is coming through a movie that is happening, or it is coming through maybe a visit that you made to Kochi Binale that is happening, any event that is happening around you. It is important that we recognize all the multiple voices and all the multiple shades. And before I really pass on to, I'm sure Sridharanji will come in his second round, but I thought it equally important to mention at this stage that what is globally happening is that media studies and ethics, the intersections between that. At one time, when we did not have the explosion of the internet, of the social media, the aspects of ethics were more about integrity of the journalist, integrity of a radio channel, or an integrity of a TV channel. And the elements of bias were quite absent because there was always a sense of neutrality. Now the question is, when we look at ethics today, we can't place it at a periphery at all. And it becomes even more important that it becomes center stage. So when, like Vasanthi was saying, a young student getting up, it's not just a young person. Let us be very clear. Today, the phone is not a distraction. I am the distraction. The phone is your life. The audience that is sitting behind Danu and Vasanthi, I am the distraction, not the phone. Let us understand that. It is very important for us to understand that. So it's very natural for them to scroll through that. But where is that question coming of ethics? When they get a forward, they just meaninglessly forward it. But when I get a forward, I try to do a fact check to see that as a socially responsible person, do I forward it? Or am I doing something just mechanical, like your good morning messages which you keep forwarding? When you forward anything which relates to an information, and again coming to his question of being in a democratic space, it becomes very important that we become socially responsible and ethical in the way that we use various media forms. So I think I'll stop here. I wanted to provoke a thought process. I'm not too sure whether I've done it. I'm sure the youngsters will at least start thinking before they start forwarding what seems to be absolute gibberish at certain times. And it comes back to you with a greater force when you would have done a lot of damage to the society because you have provoked someone to react. You react to that. When I have walked out or exited WhatsApp groups of my own school classroom, because I see hate seems to be the underlying theme in that. Moment I realized that it is hate and we are promoting a climate of hate, I show my protest in exiting a group. So I think all of us need to be very responsive and responsible when we look in terms of media, and as students of media going tomorrow, who are the torch bearers, I would sort of ask you to rethink, revisit, and then take in terms whatever you are consuming, not just consume and share it. Whenever you consume, be ethical, be conscious, and so on. So let me stop here. I'm a teacher, and if I get a mic in my hand, it's a very dangerous.
Okay, thank you, madam. We'll continue our discussion in the second round. Then my next question is to Jayaprakash sir. As madam was talking about ethical aspects. All of our students will be placed in some media organizations. And we know that media organizations are nowadays basically business organizations. And if you look at channels, they are generally followed by business principles. Then my question to Jayaprakash sir is, in such a competitive scenario, how can we prepare our students to be ethically correct in whatever they do related to their media endeavors?
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. Now, the word ethics itself is hanging. So what is ethics? Like, we have all these SDG goals, but the problem with us, we can't define what is development. See, my days, while I was like you, we used to write, essay competitions. Like, we used to tell, you read, you work here, you got all the resources and you work for the country, you live it, you go outside, it is brain drain, it is very bad. Suddenly things change. Development is, you read here, you go work in some foreign country. And a stage came, given free visas, everybody will go away from this place. So this development, it means different things for different people. And actually, to be precise, what is development has to be taught first. Of course, we do it SDG goals. You do a project, all our syllabus, curriculum, we embed this. So this is SDG goal 2, 3, 4, everything, we mark it. But what happens? When you go to the media, there is a big disconnect. See, for them, development is totally TRP, like the cricket match, coming from test match to 60 overs, 50 overs, and 20 overs. It changes. Like, the game is decided by the media. How many hits, how many impressions. So totally, it goes away. Commerce takes it. So in such a case, we should come back for the main thing. What is development? Nature, culture, and sacredness. Ensure that it is there in the development, then it will work. But can we ask this to be done in the media channels? No. Because they have their own agenda. Because earlier, we had Doordarshan was the biggest one. They were covering the whole of the country. But we see today everyone, all of us are editors, all of us are reporters. We have our own media. We publish everything and anything which comes to our mind. So the problem is there is a shift. Every day it changes. Like why, the recent Reuters report tells the present generation, they read newspapers to get news is just 4%. They get their news from Instagram 30%, YouTube 24%, radio 4%, and television 4%. So suddenly, how this media can adapt to this? Because the readers are changing. We are telling about pedagogy, like teacher-centric, but they are somewhere andragogy or heutagogy. They have take their own decision. They are far ahead. The distance has increased. So something has to be, like the teaching, the media, and the consumers. We have a big disconnect, and this is keeping increasing, and that has to be dealt with. And if I tell what is environment, the definition, it has gone the other way. What is left after development is environment today. Do you agree? What is environment? What is left after your development? development might be anyway. So the whole things, so the three connects, it has to be nurtured properly. That is my point, sir.
Thank you, sir. And continuing with what Jayaprakash sir said about development communication. My question next is to Arulchelvan sir. When you look at the syllabus and curriculum of most of our universities in media studies, we generally see only 1 or 2 papers on development communication. But definitely, there are a hell a lot of issues related to development.
Yes.
And climate change, sustainable development. So many issues are there. And a media student, or when he enters into a media organization, definitely he should have a lot of awareness related to various social issues, as also related to the urgent issues that are confronting humanity.
Yes.
And in that context, my question is, how can you revamp curriculum and syllabus in tune with the times in the future?
The media curriculum need to be revised continuously. Not as per university regulations, we are following UGC and the Tamil Nadu State Council for Higher Education norms. We are taking 2 years or 3 years once, but it needs to be revised based on every semester and the developments. Number 2, we have to provide the flexibility to the teachers to add, adapt whatever new things developed within the 6 months period. Then only at this time, the media is evolving rapidly, second by second, not day by day, second by second. If you are giving the adaptability and flexibility, then only we can improvise the curriculum. In the curriculum also, we have to rethink the traditional mindset. Normally, we are giving the, as he pointed out, Madam also, the teacher-centric. We have to think about the learner-centric approaches. What are the media skills? What are the media principles we need to learn? That we have to think. We have to frame the syllabus according to the need of the learners. Okay, what is the need of the learner now? The industry. Finally, we are going for the employment. What is the employment requirement? The skill. The skill improvement is needed in all the sectors. But at the same time, media is very broader. Even if any particular person is not having any degree with media, he or she can get any job in the media. Okay? But what is the difference between the non-media person, non-media degree holder and media degree holder? You are learning from the scratch. You know what is media, how we can utilize the media, how we can think about the principles, because we are having a lot of technology developments, in the media itself, animation, graphics, many things. All the developed countries, they are using the technology for, in the media technology also, the development side. They are making a lot of simulations. How many of us creating simulations for physics or chemistry or biology or surgery, medicine? But our media industry, what they are doing? They are creating big snakes, new avatars. They are creating lot of superstitions. They are propagating media for only making money. Okay? That kind of ethics should be added in our curriculum. The ethics always starting from the creator. Because normally what we are saying, whatever the consumer is want, we are providing. Not like that. Sometimes it's vice versa, but we have to think, if your children, if your family member is reviewing the same content, what you are advising? Don't see, don't look into that kind of content. So we have to start, we have to think from the not sympathetical, the empathy way. We have to stand on their point and we have to think, create the content ethically. Regarding to the ethical, again, everyone is saying a lot of points regarding ethics. It's a consumers always having some ethical points. In a simple way, I can say, how many of you watch the television advertisement on 5-star chocolate? No? What is the chocolate advertisement? Very good. You didn't do anything. That's good. Yes. In this scenario, you need not create, you need not share any content without the verification and the societal need. Okay? Because we are always forwarding, creating, forwarding, because it's very free, easy to create the content, but we are not thinking about the end effect. Few years back, in many incidents happened. One incident in Tiruvannamalai. You know Tiruvannamalai in Tamil Nadu? Yes, it's a very pilgrimage center. Tiruvannamalai temple is there. In our society, after going to the temple, they are coming out, they are sharing some prasadam, sweets to the whoever assembled there. But one old woman, she was assaulted by local people and she died. It's called mob lynch. Mob lynch. What happened? Everyone thought that she is a child abductor. The WhatsApp, somebody said, I think WhatsApp University, Mr. Dhanraj said, in the WhatsApp, a lot of information are forwarding without thinking whether it is true or not, it is needed or not. Okay? Somebody, they forward the message, the child abductors are coming in many forms, they are giving sweets and abducting the children. But she gave only prasad, 70 years old woman, she was assaulted and mob lynched, she died. It is happened in Tamil Nadu, South India, you think about the North India. In 2018, 19, 20, more than 75, exactly 78 incidents happened like this. Uttar Pradesh is the top number one that time. Okay? So we need to create the content, forward the content responsibly. Also, we need to consume it responsibly. Okay? Even nowadays, we are thinking, whenever we are taking food, we are thinking whether it is high calorie or not, shall we take the sugar or not, okay? So we are taking that much of cautiousness in taking food. Similarly, when we are consuming the media content also, you please apply the same thing. Thank you. All these things need to be added in our curriculum. The curriculum should be continuously revised, updated, based on the industry need. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And most of our speakers are underlying the ethical aspects related to media communication and media education. My next question is to Arun Shyamnath, sir. When you look at media education, there is a lot of disconnect between theory and practice. And how can you bring industry institution interface in making media education a little more practical and realistic in the present context?
Yeah, thank you for the question. See, I see a paradox in that question. Now, the question to Jayaprakash sir was perhaps we see increasing role of business guiding and directing the way media is facilitating. So if the question is whether if the question is whether you want industry to come interact with academics or the people to go there, then you are essentially, the thought process is that, okay, our objective is our students to go there, work in the industry, and industry makes a lot of sense. On the other hand, we think that, okay, we want our children to work there, but yet it is driven by business media. So these are a paradox. That's the point. Now, this has a lot of implications for educational institutions. Think it this way. Let us take a broader context. Amrita and other universities, higher education institutions, they're institutions of higher learning, education, research. And at the end of the day, if you ask the institutions, how do you measure What are the indicators in terms of which you measure your success? They would end up saying, okay, we want our students to get placed in really good posts. Okay. So that is your barometer of success. One of the barometers, at least, probably the most prominent one, is your students getting placed in high paying jobs, which are probably going to be in the most successful business enterprises. And if you were to think along the other question, that is the business content, those media organizations are successful, which are really good business establishments. Now here comes the other question. That is, if they are really successful, does it mean that they are not ethical? That is what people tend to believe. When you say that, okay, media has to change, media is guided by business, then the automatic question is that, the automatic thought process is that, ippozhathe media endo kolapondu. What is the problem? That is business driven. Now, what I would suggest is, you think it this way. Media has changed over years. The form of media, it has transformed over the years. It has a current structure. Media and the organization, ഒരു structure ഉണ്ട്. ആ structure പണ്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നതിൽ നിന്ന് ഒത്തിരി വ്യത്യസ്തമാണ്. It is quite different. So this structure is something that is guiding the way it functions. Now, if you want that business thing to change, then essentially it involves a question of choice. Okay? The whole question of having socially responsible citizens, if you want, media has to function like that in a particular way, which need not be very pro-business. And if you want your students to behave in a socially responsible way, there should be another form of behavior. What I meant to say is, if you want to develop socially responsible citizens, the first and foremost thing you need to have is a choice. Educational institutions will have to choose. They'll have to reprioritize. They'll have to think that, okay, my barometer is not only about placement, but also about creating socially responsible citizens. That is number one. The second thing that what we do is we have this stakeholder mapping, if I were to put the framework. The other stakeholder is obviously the media agencies that function. Now for them, the biggest problem is the consumers. Each and every one of us is a consumer. Whether you study media or you don't study media, if I were to take the example of what Vasanthi madam was telling, we start consuming media in various forms the second we get up, till the time we sleep. So whether you study media or not, we are consumers of media. Now business houses, what they try to do is, they are trying to sell you certain things. They're trying to sell you products. Now what I would say is, it depends on your consumption habit. You make a choice. The consumer has to make a conscious decision that what I prefer would essentially be something responsible. So it is not only the responsibility of the media house, it is also the responsibility of the consumer. Now, the crucial factor there is that what gets more attention very easily. See, we are keeping on telling positive things, makes an impact, good. But the second there is a negative news, the second there is a confusion, the second there is a sporadic event, it automatically gathers eyeballs. So why is that so? Probably something to do with our psychology. We are patterned in a particular way. We love beautiful music, but then some really hit music comes in, it catches our attention. We go on watching news for many hours. Then the second we hear that there is war, there is bombing, then it captures our attention. So my point is, the whole idea of creating socially responsible citizens involves a conscious decision at various levels. Level in terms of education institutions that are involved, in terms of the business entities that are involved, in terms of the customers that are involved. So this question is not very easy. It has to be deliberated over time. And then probably we'll have to come at a decision. So that is something that will take a lot of time. That will require a lot of conditioning. And your precise question, that is how to improve the interaction, the way media agencies come into education. See, I'll tell you something, my personal example. I'll speak from example. I started working in the media way back in 2002. My basic background is in economics. So I started working with media way back when I was a student not studying media. Now, my house didn't have a cable TV that was pretty popular at that point of time, and I was asked to host an event. Now, I have never watched a person host an event. Okay, Arfas Ayub, a pretty famous film director, he was the one who gave me the opportunity. So I went there, but then I was there for say probably 3 or 4 months, and after that I was thrown out. Now, I started analyzing what was the reason why I was thrown out. One, because I didn't have the adequate knowledge about that industry. The second is there are nitty-gritties which your education might never teach you. So that is the importance of the pedagogy, the whole idea of teaching and learning going outside the university, the classrooms. So what I learned was that dressing up well was really important. Maintaining your personality is really important. And mind you, nobody told me that. I understood it that the hard way. So the next time I got an opportunity to work, I was auditioning for Kiran TV. I made it sure that I would watch and understand and learn those programs. And I would make sure that every time I go there, I'll be dressed to the T. And mind you, I had my own jugards. Okay? What I did was, I used to take any dress that I would find really good with my friends. T-shirt and appa pokkirikkum. I would wash it, I would give it back. Then, what I ended up doing was, I went in for a sponsorship. Now, the third thing that my life my experience with the media taught me is that I've been an anchor for programs with Doordarshan for quite some time, since 2008. Now, it is really important to manage time when you're in media. Are you taught time management for media as part of your curriculum in your class? It is really important to have really good networks. Imagine I'm hosting a TV show every day and I need guests every day on any topic. I would hardly get say 3 or 4 hours to prepare for that. So I need my networks. Networking is important. Your media classroom education doesn't teach you that. So my point is, it is really important. And the way to do it is, see, it needn't be that your immersive learning with reference to creation of socially responsible students has to be with a media agency. Say, for example, I would propose a model. Every year, Amrita forms teams of, say, 5 to 7 students. You go to Gram Panchayats, help them in development communication, help them in communicating responsibility. You will learn a lot. Now, the positive side is that the conventional method, that is of internships, of immersive learning with agencies, is open in a lot of TV channels and media institutions. അത് അവർക്ക് താല്പര്യമുള്ളത് കൊണ്ട് മാത്രമല്ല. നിങ്ങളൊരു മീഡിയ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനിൽ തുടക്കത്തിൽ ഇന്റേൺഷിപ്പിന് പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾ അടിമുടി ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനെ കുറിച്ച് മനസ്സിലാക്കുക മാത്രമല്ല, അവർ നിങ്ങളെ കൊണ്ട് നന്നായിട്ട് പണിയെടുപ്പിക്കുകയും ചെയ്യും. സോ എസെൻഷ്യലി യു ആർ സേവിങ് ദം എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് മണി and they are looking at prospective students, workforce whom they can hire. So now is the right time. Go in for a lot of internships, go in for a lot of immersive learning experiences, and this needn't be with conventional media houses. You can think out of the box. Media and communications is in a state of boom. So you will get any number of experiences where you can have the opportunity for experiential learning. That is what I would feel.
Thank you, sir. When you look at the syllabus and curriculum, as you said, there are several inputs that are desirable, but that's not there in the syllabus. And in that context, my next question is to Shakila madam. When you look at media education, definitely critical thinking, and that's required for all type of education, all type of curriculum, and especially for media education, critical thinking as also creative thinking. How can we bring these two into the whole idea of the curriculum? That's my question.
Thank you for that question, Sridharanji. That is because, in a certain sense, I'm sorry to really talk about the NEP over here, but it comes automatically because when we said in the National Education Policy that we need to promote multidisciplinarity, the question that Arun and Arul, okay, that Arun was saying about choices. It is where for the first time we realized that it is not just the cognitive, that also the creative that goes into the making of a holistic individual. And a subject like media studies, for example, is a combination of both. It's a part of the cognitive because it is knowledge driven. You cannot conduct a program. If you've heard Rajdeep Sardesai or Barkha Dutt or any of the anchors, they have done a lot of homework. They have done a lot of preparation that went to the cognitive part of it. That research that they do is global, it's regional, it's local, and they look at that issue from all angles. And these are some of the anchors who try to maintain a degree of dispassionate approach. And therefore, they are not trying to take a view. If you listen to their programs, their stand or their view, they will only mention towards the last, if warranted. Otherwise, they are only trying to talk to the panel to get their views. So in the NEP, when we talked about the cognitive and the creative, it is because of that, that whole idea of multidisciplinarity came in. And intertwining these together in the curricular choices, where we gave examples that a mathematics student can also learn anthropology, or a mathematics student can learn agriculture, because the way we look at the construct of knowledge today is not the construct of knowledge that Dr. Dhanu and a few senior people sitting here and us, how we learned it. We are all, as we describe, as I-shaped graduates with deep specialization in the area that we studied. If over the years I can talk about transmission and distribution losses, it's because I worked in the Planning Commission. So I know about power and so on. So experience that came helped us to understand about other areas. But that was okay during our times. Today, as a student, you can't wait for your experience of 40 years to become multidisciplinary. And we have used a word called transdisciplinarity. Transdisciplinarity is where you get non-academic actors into your academic institutions. So in a subject like media studies, it is one of the very, very potential areas where you have transdisciplinary approaches to pedagogy. You must have non-academic actors. So he gave you an example of going into a Gram Panchayat and talking about development communication. All your common service centers or your citizen service centers, where what seeds can be planted, when they can be planted, what is the kind of weather conditions, these are all transmitted through electronic media. Now that is very significant. India is not about all of us sitting here in this room. India is the one that lives in its villages. And so agriculture is important, the roads are important, health, public health is important. Vasanthi, I think, brought that out in her presentation. Now, when you look at all these aspects, you cannot become what I would say a holistic, well-rounded individual, no matter what discipline you study, unless you are able to sort of assimilate the lateral connections between various areas. And lateral connections cannot remain purely cognitive or purely creative. I don't know how many of you watched the Binale over here. If you have walked through the Binale, and Dinesh is here and he has not allowed you to go to the Binale, I must say you all are missing out one of the most creative, but at the same time provoking cognitive thinking when you enter into an exhibition space there. Because the artist who has put an installation there, it's not just about a painting. Maybe you haven't gone to Darbar Hall to see paintings. I am not really an artist as such, but I've always felt that the humanistic part in me comes in when I look at creative arts. So looking at music, he said he is a mridangam player, and I think someone else said that they sing. Why is it important for us to have the creative? It is important for us to have the creative because it brings in the humanistic part of it. Now, in media studies, one of the pedagogies that we are talking about, he did talk about internships. That's one part of it. It is about storytelling. It's about community storytelling. So reach out, and I think the theme over here, the larger theme of this symposium is about going outside your classroom and into the community. And this is an area where you need to really explore it. The reason why I'm talking about larger events like the Binale, every stall, every installation that you see there, you will be talking about the community that is there. In one of the installations there's a typewriter that's typing out something. There is no paper there. But what it is trying to show is, during the riots, the number of people who were killed, their names are being typed out by using technology. Which is where I wanted to tell you that technology comes at the intersection of the cognitive and the creative. So the first is about your community storytelling. In addition to what he talked about, the experiential and the immersive by going into the industry. The second is about the technology. The technology with the AI coming in, we cannot ignore it. All your entire fake news that is coming out. A few days back, in this war that is ongoing, the leader of one of the nations, it was claimed, was killed, and that video showed 6 fingers of the gentleman. And to prove that that was wrong, the gentleman came repeatedly onto the television or into a video bite to say that, no, I'm alive. I have 5 fingers only. That other video had 6 fingers. So we morph images. We are not able to understand when I get something, whether it is real or not. This is all coming in through both cognition and through creation. And so when you look at an educational institution, bringing in multidisciplinarity and giving choices, having transdisciplinarity where you go out, and let me not forget what I said at the beginning about being ethical. That's always been there. So the question is, how do we, as an educational institution, and he said about, the curriculum getting revised. Even if the curriculum is not revised because of the, let us say, the structured systems of the regulatory framework, I think as institutions like Amrita, which are autonomous institutions, you have the freedom to navigate your autonomy to explore new things that are happening. Never look for directions from UGC and so on. It's there as a regulatory system. And I'm not trying to say as a policy person that regulation is not needed. When it's over-regulated, it is always bad. But you are autonomous and you must navigate your curricula to make it not just contemporary, but to make it futuristic. And be conscious, be aware of all the future trends, but at the same time remain grounded, practical, and pragmatic. So don't get carried away by things. Like he said, it's all about eyeball catching. And he also said something about why the negative comes. There is a vicarious pleasure. It may hurt your sensibilities maybe. There is a vicarious pleasure to read about murder, to read about rape, because it's not happened to us or someone we know. And it's something that we would like to relish to see it. So the newspaper, I don't watch many of the channels because my human sensibilities get completely offended by the brutality of the crime and the manner in which it is okay to put a line there that these images may, hurt your sensibilities. But we are able to devour it. We are able to sit through that. And if cinema is a reflection, I would say today there are a number of movies for the sheer violence that it is propagating, which is whether art reflects life or it is the other way around, has always been a question. And we in the education systems, we are influencers, right? You want to become YouTubers, you want to become bloggers, you want to become vloggers, what all names that we are talking about. And that is the future that we are looking at. So I think the nuanced understanding that education is both cognitive and creative. It has to be grounded in practicality and being ethical, but be aware of all the developments that are happening. Use technology. I'm sure all of us here use ChatGPT. All of us here use the Meta. All of us here use the Gemini. It is a machine. It is not capable of processing as such. The machine learning has a limitation in processing. And you must understand that. That is why it is very important that Googling it or getting something on the WhatsApp is not enough. Today the ChatGPT gives you a source. About 2 years back, it didn't show the source. So today you have a source to go back to verify that, from where that source is. So these are the things that you must understand. What is cognitive thinking and what is creative thinking? How do I bring in transdisciplinary actors? How do I do storytelling? How do I get into internships? How do I become environmentally conscious? How do I take a view of avoiding violence? How do I take a view that I will not watch certain types of programs? Sitting in this audience with a large number of girls, don't watch Hindi serials. Don't watch Malayalam serials. The 3 times that they project an image at the end, so that next day your eyeball is again onto that. And I think he will understand best. Is all about, nurturing a certain hidden desire, which is so latent in us and which we are trying to get a vicarious pleasure in. And it's showing you all the negative things. It is never nurturing positivity. It is never nurturing humanism. It is showing you about all negative qualities that human beings, especially women, have. And let me bring in gender over here. Gender is a very critical part of any media. How you project gender, fair and lovely. Now it is not shown, right? Why is it that you think only a fair face? You're marketing yourself. You're marketing your sexuality. And we need not be, we need not feel uncomfortable about talking about it. Let us be clear, we are all 18-year-olds and above. And today an 18-year-old really is not the person who's an adult. It's a 10-year-old child. I can talk about sexuality to a 10-year-old child. So let us understand how is gender being projected. So it doesn't fall into buckets necessarily, Sridharan, of purely being cognitive or creative. It's about all this getting enmeshed together because it's so interconnected. And I think as educational institutions who teach subjects like media studies, I hope you bring in conversations onto your table where you talk about gender, where you talk about violence, where you talk about brutality, where you talk about war, where you talk about discrimination, where you talk about hate. All these are conversations we must be able to look eye into the eye. You can take a different view, but you must be able to talk about it, converse about it. So I sincerely hope that money is one indicator of success, but if you are a good human being, which is what Swamiji said in the morning, to look at a smiling face. And talking about personality, I don't know about whether someone will lend me a t-shirt or not, or maybe he grabbed it. But the question is, and I'm not talking about the ethics of that, that's a different thing. But the question is that personality matters, body language matters, always be empathetic, compassionate, inclusive. These are all qualities that you need to nurture. It may not come in your classrooms, but your media has to go outside the classroom, which is what it is all about. So I hope I'll see When I come to ISMER, if at all Dinesh calls me after all this rambling next year, then I would like to see a few of you have different views on what you came in with and what you're going out with.
Okay, thank you, madam. And taking up the thread on multidisciplinarity in media studies, it's a personal opinion. Even then, I will ask a question on that. Many times I have felt that when you look at the syllabus and curriculum of most of the universities in media studies, except Tata Institute of Social Sciences. Tata Institute of Social Sciences, I like their syllabus. What it lacks is the multidisciplinarity aspects. And I personally feel that cultural studies should be one paper. There should be a paper on anthropology. There should be a paper on psychology, so that they have a holistic view related to different areas of or various domains of knowledge. And in your view, how can we reshape or rather redesign the curriculum and syllabus, putting in more multidisciplinary elements or multidisciplinary subjects into the whole host of teaching learning processes and the curriculum and syllabus?
Actually, we have all those things on paper. See, every year we sit down for the Board of Studies, we bring in. And you know, ours is an autonomous college. And I can say we've been following choice-based credit system. We have interdisciplinary course. We have transdisciplinary course. Then cafeteria approach. All these things, it's there in the embedded in golden letters. But what happens is you frame the syllabus and everything is inside the classroom, it happens. And unfortunately, see, while I was a journalism student, my HOD, he could find something in me. My first internship, he decided, you go to News Time Hyderabad. Sir, I don't know Hindi. No problem. Sir, I haven't traveled beyond Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka. No, you go there. So there he identified my journalism capability and he sent me there. So that is where, after all these things, these are just words, the 4 things I told. But this internship helps a lot, as he told. So when I went there, then I decided I can become a good journalist. Another thing is, we all bring some bits and pieces and teach that in the classroom. And another thing, what happens is, today the children, the parents, they don't want their kids to be in the media. And somehow they also join a media course, like say Viscom in Tamil Nadu. It's getting degraded because who and all are joining Viscom? See, if you join Viscom, you don't have textbook. You needn't carry any note or pen. Right? You go write something, you get a pass. Or you create a reel. At the end of 3 years, you will come out with a film. See, so what happened is we have diluted it. What was given as an autonomy, it has gone the other way. So what I am doing is like a personal example, like I didn't come last 2 ISMER conferences. I came in 23. Again, ma'am has rightly told out. I came here to attend the Binale. So now what I have done is, all my research scholars, 4 of you, you have to attend in person. All 3 days. You be here, you be there, Saturday and Sunday it's there, you go visit. Because last time I came, I never dreamt such a grand, exhibition happening like this. It happens in the ship, it happens in the shore, on the trees, everywhere. So still I remember it's there in my room. Just one photograph. One cake, a costly cake, colorful cake. Don't eat the cake, eat the rich. See what psychology and sociology in just 1 or 2 sentences. Don't eat the cake, eat the rich. So it created a thought process. So permitting students to go outside, learn them. So I made my research scholars, you have come here. You could have seen many of them are attending, through online. And again, it's become a lag And the impact which we get through online is very less, I feel like, because we have taken classes during the pandemic period. Sometimes even while taking classes, I even myself have slept. Students will wake me up. That will also happen, when you lose the effect, the impact has to be there. So students joining media should be ready to go outside. You break the wall, go out of the box. As we are discussing, conflict is the biggest factor, biggest element in news. So you have to face conflicts, you have to highlight. And today we speak about development communication, bring in positive journalism, because we are immersed into too much of conflict. We want to come out of it. So at least this media course, they had given us some freedom, autonomy. But again, we are restricting ourselves inside the class. Another thing is like most of them are girls. If we go by marks, 70-80% of them, the girls, they score more marks and they get in. And when we don't have any interview process, they come in, they want to sit safely, they'll read, they'll do excellent drawings, everything they project, and they don't want to get into journalism. We have a journalism course, but 90% after joining, they tell, we don't want to get into journalism, I want to make reels, I want to make a film. So that clarity has to be brought in, and we as teachers, we have the responsibility of taking them outside the classrooms. And we have to set an example. And another thing is the problem with the education system. We study MA, we write NET, get a JRF, we become professors. And I would say, if ours is a professional course, a practicing doctors is a professor. Practicing lawyer becomes a professor. Why not in journalism course, the teacher should have practiced. So this also happens here. Without any field knowledge, the teacher can become a great teacher in journalism. So that also has to be given. And of course, even day before yesterday, Prime Minister's statement, with YouTube and Google, they are inducting many parts in this curriculum. So that has to happen, and that will give us real updates.
There is this whole idea of professors of practice, which the new education policy has put forward. That is also something that can be thought of. People with media experience, they can come in as teachers, yeah. Now the point is, he came to teaching after his, after journalism only. So he is a professor of practice, even though the term was not there at that point of time. So that makes a lot of difference.
I'll have two more questions, yes. One to you and one to you. Okay. And taking up the cue on Binale, what Madam said and what Jayaprakash said. I attend a lot of festivals, film festivals at Goa, at Trivandrum, at many places. I also attend documentary film festival. Last time I attended the International Theatre Festival at Trichur. And what I feel is that our students, media students, should be given exposure to all these festivals, at least 3 festivals in a year, or at least 2, so that they get an exposure to how they do the event managements. I am surprised the way they conduct the events, especially Goa, on a large scale, and most of the things are done on digital platforms. And my question to you, sir, how can we expose our students to such mammoth events or events that are taking place at a global scale at India? So many festivals are. Recently, one future program was there in Jain University. It was a wonderful program. It gives a lot of exposure to the students. And when there is such opportunities that are there around, how can we take our students to such events so that they understand events management as also get great learning opportunities?
Yes, especially for media students, the exposure to media events is very, very important. As you said, the Goa Film Festival is an international event. Like that, many events are happening throughout the state level, regional level, and national level, international level. Even now, recently, the government of India is also started the Waves. Waves is a very good, important event. it is not only showcasing the film. The film in the International Film Festival, they are here. They are bringing the technology. They are bringing the how we can make the content with the technology, everything. So the exposure is very important. At least, as you suggested, the students should go and attend at least 2 or 3 events per semester. It is a part of the curriculum. We can make it. We can give some points for also the marks. Then weightage. Then the college institution can arrange that kind of exposure events, but the weightage should be given. Then only they will go as part of the curriculum, and they will know what are the developments are happening. Then how to organize an event, what are the different segments are there, they have to witness. Sometimes they are also always receiving in the words and text. Yes. Then only if they are witnessing only, they can easily understand, and after the program, after the course completion, they are going to implement. That time it is needed. If possible, the institutions should collaborate with many organizations. They have to conduct the events, this kind of events in a collaborative manner. The students should be involved, part of the activity, part of the event. The event management, organizing the event, scheduling, what are the contents need to be done, even arranging the food, lunch, everything. It is coming under event management. So the students, learners should should have lot of exposure. That is very much needed. For that, they can collaborate with the state governments, central governments, and the organizations, like they are conducting festivals throughout the India. Many organizations are there. The collaboration is very, very must. So the weightage, if you are giving the weightage, it will be another one important thing, not related to this question. When we are talking about the curriculum development, implementation, nowadays, all the institutions and government, they are going by data-driven approach. Now, most of the faculty members are data gatherers, not able to read, not able to study, and not able to take class with the new content. They are going by the old PPT. The reason is they are always utilized for all except teaching and research activities. It is happening in all the institutions throughout, not only India, throughout the world. That is why recently UK university, they openly announced that we are going out of ranking. We are not going for any NAC or QS ranking. We are going on our own way. Our faculties are very important for us. So this is also the untouched part of the academic. The faculty members are given a lot of extra loads. Sometimes the extra loads is coming as a primary work. It should be avoided. That is very, very important. It's not only for media, for all the faculty members. Because data fails in many election campaign, election, whoever getting the very good data, this particular party will win. They failed in the elections. So we have to go with the quality and the originality, not with the data. Data may fail. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have the last question to you, sir. Coming back to AI, how can AI be harnessed for media education, especially machine learning, these neural networks, all these things? And as sir was also talking about this MML. How can we how can we harness or utilize AI for a better media education, especially related to fake news and using AI tools in media education?
So it's a really good question. Probably the best person to answer that is in the first row. See, the point is, AI is something that is new, relatively new, that is coming up. Now, the bigger point is that it is going through a series of successive, continuous transformations. Imagine, look at AI as something that is like a knife, okay? You polish that knife, it becomes sharper, you have new materials, it becomes exceptionally performantial. The point is, the way you use AI depends on your requirements. Like use of AI for not only media and media education, in life also, it offers you immense possibilities. There are greater questions beyond that. One is that how I should use that depends on me. There are n number of opportunities available, so I can use that. But the greater point is beyond that. There are certain questions associated with use of AI. Like AI can be used also for misinterpretation. There could be hallucinations. AI hallucinations are there. I'm really, like there is this airport in New York which used an AI tool for screening, for ease of managing their crowd and passengers. They used AI for screening purposes. Now the point is they use the data which was used to learn the AI models. There were flaws in that. The ultimate effect was that if somebody was not white, okay, if somebody had certain facial features, they would automatically be noted for extra verification. So the point is AI has its own issues associated, but of greater concern to me is, see, we live in an age where there is lot of information, including misinformation. Now, as we progress as a society, there is a key question regarding media and the information available of what is acceptable, what is right. So let me give you two contexts for that. Number one, now so far with the discussion so far, we have come to probably understand that not everything is right with media. Private media has its own limitations. But let me ask you the question. So in that case, would government media be really good? Huh? That's an option. I'm giving you another option. Now, government media also has its fair share of issues. It is a false view. It is a fallacy that governments can't fail. Now, if you ask me, did Iran government do the right thing in bombing countries in neighboring countries? Was US government doing the right thing bombing the other places? Was Israel right? Each of these are governments. So the greater question is controlling or having a particular type of media doesn't matter. But what is of greater importance is how you decide what is right. This is relative. Say, for example, when Rajaram Mohan Roy, he was protesting against ills of the society, he was going against conventions. The right thing to do at that point of time for a female was essentially to do sati, jump in. Okay, that was right. That was the rational thing. That was the responsible thing for a person to do once her husband dies. He was going against that. So this whole question of rationality, responsibility would require you at times to question the generally accepted notions. You will have to challenge them. That is where what Madam told becomes really important. Critically analyzing things is really important. That applies to AI also. That is number one. The second is, as media spreads, as information spreads, there is a tendency of polarization, like Dhanraj sir said. Now, there is also a possibility that it is generally held that certain views are true. My question is, who decides what is generally acceptable? Who decides what can be right for everyone? So that is the greater question. So one, deciding what is right involves at times for you to go beyond conventions, challenge them. Two, you will have to critically analyze them. Three, you will have to look at systems which decide what is ethical, what is right, what is responsible. And media, thankfully, now the biggest advantage that I see right now is, if anybody of you are right now on mobile, type in this one. Most famous vloggers working on development and social communication. Type it around. You'll get a lot of information. What I meant to show you, or rather what I want to tell you is, we generally tend to think that, okay, the new gen, unka kuch to kharab hai. Endo prashna undu. കുറേ നാൾ കഴിയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും കഴുത്ത് കാണൂല because they are sitting like this. Happens. Now for me the greater challenge is, the positive is that the new generation is not as naive as we think. They have their preferences. It is all about guiding them in the right direction. They are here to make a change. They are capable of making a change. Many of those new emerging entrepreneurs are here because they believe in social responsibility, responsible behavior. That is number one. The second is, I'll give you an example. Companies who are recruiting. Now there is an option for the people getting recruited. Say for example, big companies will recruit you, but many are turning down invitations from really big companies. The simple reason is they don't feel that the company is doing enough for ESG, environment, socially and governance parameters. So I see a lot of bright future for media students and students as a whole. The only thing is they'll have to question themselves. They'll have to challenge certain things. They'll have to think. They should not let others think for themselves, especially at the times of media. So I think there are possibilities. We could possibly go in the right direction. Everything is not so bad. We have bright shining stars which I think are going to come up.
Okay, thank you, sir. The time is up, and most of the speakers have emphasized the ethical aspects related to media education. Oh.
Has anybody in the panel got any question? And I'll just supplement what our friend Arul said. Huh? We can give them 5 minutes for questions. Yeah, and I just wanted to add, when you said that, if you put in a given year that they should attend at least some 3 events that are happening, and that it should be given weightage, only if you give an outcome report. Otherwise, yes, because I have seen educational tours happening. My youngest educational tour was a trip to the Coca-Cola factory in Ville Parle, since I studied in Bombay. And for us, it was merely an entertainment. So outcome report is essential. And let us have about 5 minutes for any questions. Otherwise, it's not fair.
Any questions?
Ma'am, my question is, how can we create a sense of critical thinking among people based on the media content?
How do we ensure critical thinking? In the consumers, in the media consumers. I think that really is a very, very broad question, because to be very frank, we have killed the capacity to think. Forget critical thinking. We, as I said during our tea break, India has created a nation of parrots. Parrots don't do thinking first, and they don't do critical thinking also. Why? Because we have memorized. Memorization as a function of learning has done great damage to our ability to think independently. So nurturing independent thinking right from a very young age is very important. And that can happen only when you allow a child to have a mind of his or her own. What we tend to do as parents and as members in the society is to conform, what he said, conforming to the norm. And therefore, there are 2 things. We must have and encourage in every child the power of curiosity and nurture their power of confusion. Confusion is one of the most critical factors that helps us to learn better. Because when you confuse someone, they try to, from that confusion, understand what is correct. So confusion, we always believed, don't confuse students, we said. No. Don't allow them to have curiosity or questions. No, this is wrong. So to develop critical thinking, at firstly develop thinking. The ability, I think, therefore I am, Descartes. I think, therefore I am. That capability of thinking needs to be nurtured. And only then, anything that we consume is capable of having an analytical thinking.
I have a small thing. Like you journalism students, you have an extra facility. Like other department students, we in a question paper we ask, answer the following. But how do we ask? Prepare 10 questions to interview the Prime Minister. Right? This happened. So you are taught in that way to ask questions. So that is one big benefit. And when it comes to AI, this prompt engineering is very vital for us. Whether you use any app or technology that changes every time. So you better, you hold on to your practice asking questions. So prompt engineering is the best way for our journalism students to do well in AI.
You have to ask the right questions. That's more important.
One more point. If you want to develop your critical thinking, media student, you already know, we are having 5 W's and an H. If you are asking 6 questions, automatically you will become a critical thinker.
I'll give you an altogether different perspective. The panel has to have So, why is it that you feel you don't have critical thinking? Do you think you don't have critical thinking? Now, I'll give you an example. Kuttikalam modale, since we were small kids, we are taught, don't talk to new people. അപരിചിതരോട് സംസാരിക്കരുത് അല്ലേ, സൂക്ഷിക്കണ്ടേ നമ്മൾ വേണം. രാത്രി 10 മണി കഴിഞ്ഞ് യാത്രയൊക്കെ പോകുമ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോഴാണെങ്കിലും പറയൂലേ, ഊബറിൽ കയറിയാൽ വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഒന്ന് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യണം. വൈ? ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ബിക്കോസ് നോട്ട് ബിക്കോസ് യുവർ പേരൻസ് ആർ ടെല്ലിങ് യു ദാറ്റ്. ചില സിറ്റുവേഷനിൽ ചില കാര്യങ്ങൾ നിങ്ങൾ ചിന്തിക്കണം, ആണല്ലോ. ഇപ്പോൾ കുട്ടിയുടെ ചോദ്യം കേട്ടപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ഞാൻ എന്നോട് തന്നെ ആലോചിക്കായിരുന്നു, ഇനി ചിന്തിക്കേണ്ട എങ്ങനെയാണെന്നും കൂടി ഇവരോട് പഠിക്കണോ എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. Now, the point is, yes, you have to think. Okay. Now, critical thinking is essentially a structured way of thinking about things. അതിന് ബെസ്റ്റ് സാറ് പറഞ്ഞ ഫ്രെയിം വർക്കാണ്. ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ചിരുന്നത് ആദ്യം ഒരു 10 മിനിറ്റ് വന്ന് സംസാരിക്കേണ്ടി വരും എന്നാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ കുറേ പോയിന്റ്സ് ഒക്കെ എഴുതി വെച്ചിരുന്നപ്പോൾ അതിനകത്ത് ഞാൻ ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ വെച്ചിരുന്ന ഫ്രെയിം വർക്ക് വാസ് എസെൻഷ്യലി W5H. വാട്ട്, വൈ, വെൻ, വെയർ, ഹൂ, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് ഹൗ. സിമ്പിൾ ലോജിക്കാണ്. അതിനും ദ ആൻസർ ദാറ്റ് ഐ വുഡ് ടെൽ ഈസ്, ഈ ഡിമാൻഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന എക്കണോമിക്സിലൊരു ടേം ഉണ്ട്. അത് ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ച ബ്രഹ്മാണ്ടം സാധനമാണത്. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എസെൻഷ്യലി ഡിസയർ. നിങ്ങൾക്കൊരു ഡിസയർ വേണം ക്രിട്ടിക്കലി തിങ്ക് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന്, നിങ്ങൾക്കൊരു എബിലിറ്റി വേണം തിങ്ക് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട്. അത് കുറേ നാൾ പഠിച്ച് കഴിയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും കിട്ടും പിള്ളേർക്ക്. ആ പരിപാടി ഇല്ലാന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾ പാസ്സാവില്ല, ഫെയിലാവും. പിന്നെ വേണ്ടത് വില്ലിങ്നെസ് ആണ്. നിങ്ങൾ പുതിയ മീഡിയയുമായിട്ട് ഇൻ്ററാക്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എബിലിറ്റി ഇല്ലാത്തത് കൊണ്ടല്ല, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി ഇല്ലാത്തത് കൊണ്ടല്ല, വെദർ യു ആർ വില്ലിങ് ടു തിങ്ക് ക്രിട്ടിക്കലി ഓർ നോട്ട് എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ചോദ്യം. സോ യുവർ വില്ലിങ്നെസ് ഈസ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് ഫോർ യു ടു തിങ്ക് ക്രിട്ടിക്കലി. ഇയാളെ വിചാരിക്കേണ്ട ഇയാൾക്ക് ക്രിട്ടിക്കൽ തിങ്കിങ് ഒന്നും ഇല്ല എന്നൊന്നും ഞാൻ പറയുന്നില്ല. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത് നമ്മൾ ബീറ്റൺ ട്രാക്കിൽ ചിന്തിക്കരുത്, വ്യത്യസ്തമായിട്ട് ചിന്തിക്കാൻ ശ്രമിക്കണം എപ്പോഴും. നിങ്ങൾ ദോശ ഉണ്ടാക്കുമ്പോഴാണെങ്കിലും അതെ, ആൻസർ എഴുതുമ്പോഴാണെങ്കിലും അതെ, നിങ്ങളുടെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ മാനേജ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴാണെങ്കിലും ഏറ്റവും എഫിഷ്യൻ്റായിട്ട് എഫക്റ്റീവായിട്ടും ചിന്തിക്കാൻ ശ്രമിച്ചാൽ മതി. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഓൾ. Now in that case, let me ask them one question, just a second. ഒരാൾ പറഞ്ഞാലും മതി. ഇപ്പം മീഡിയ പെഡഗോജിയെ കുറിച്ച് എക്സ്പേർട്സ് എല്ലാം പറയുന്നുണ്ടല്ലോ, നിങ്ങളാണല്ലോ ഇത് അനുഭവിക്കുന്നവർ, അതായത് പഠിക്കുന്നവർ നിങ്ങളാണല്ലോ. വാട്ട് ഈസ് യുവർ ഒപ്പീനിയൻ? അതായത് ഈ മീഡിയ പെഡഗോജി ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യണം, കൂടുതൽ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ വേണം എന്നൊക്കെ നിങ്ങളിൽ ആരെങ്കിലും അത് ചിന്തിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ഇന്ന് രാവിലെയാണോ? വാട്ട് ഈസ് യുവർ ഒപ്പീനിയൻ? Have you ever thought that AI would all be doing most of the work that you're supposed to do?
Not really, sir, but I think we need the exact terms or the exact prompt to give the AI to enhance it more as it does it very easily. Without those prompts, we cannot get the output right. What's something that we are expecting to create. But I think we are the creators. I don't think AI is just a tool to create, but from the creator's perspective, I think the prompt is very important. And I was not aware. I am 25 years old. I was not aware of something called AI filmmaking. I know it's in practice, but I'm not very much aware of the tools and the job roles that are upcoming. I think that has to be.
Sir was telling you ask the right questions. That is what is in.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
That's the final note on which we can wind up the session.
No, this is not a question. This is not a anything to share with the panel. This is about I'm working in this field for last 23 years now in public policy. As a public policy researcher, I get the opportunity to interact with media on a weekly basis. I give the extremes what I have seen and observed. As an institution, we have worked, let's say, from India's foreign policy to urban policy to municipal corporation. I generally say, as a joke, our work extends from Kochi Municipal Corporation to White House, because we also contribute to some of the State Department policies, foreign policies of Government of India also. So, but what I want to point out here is, when I talk to journalists of late, right, I see a deterioration of the quality of journalists. And unfortunately, as some of the panelists have already pointed out, unfortunately, probably because the financial constraints, everybody is an all-rounder now. Sanju Samson is supposed to keep wickets and also bat for you and win the game. That is what media is expecting. Most of the journalists are expected to do that. So earlier and all, when I interact, people say like, I work in the urban governance only. Or, I mean, me and my colleagues, when they interview us. But today they say like, we work in every field because I'm supposed to do the all-round job. I believe, I think probably that is a way forward. I don't want to comment on that field, but expertise matters, because I am misquoted many times. I keep writing back to them, see, this is not what I told you yesterday, right? Because some of the things are very sensitive. I got into trouble when somebody calls from my government, why did you say like this? So build your expertise in some areas, at least 3-4 areas, if that is an all-round job that you're doing. But have it, because I have this conversation for 30-45 minutes. Earlier, the media, the journalists call me 5 minutes, they understand. Today, most of the journalists talk to me for 45 minutes. Even then, they don't understand. I'm not denigrating the profession. Don't tell me, get me wrong. But this is, I don't know what is happening in the industry. And then they misquote me also next day, right? So in order to avoid that, I still respect, I think Shakila ma'am was like, but Rajiv Sardesai, Pranay Roy, Barka Dutt, and all. I mean, we can agree and disagree. That's a journalist freedom. But we have stalwarts, Mark Tully, BBC.
If you have to be effective, you have to be aggressive.
Right. Even the election thing I do now, I was surprised too. Last week, I was, somebody called and said, like, what is your take on certain things? Then I said, like, they are not able to differentiate Kerala Congress. The person who was taking my interview, I was like, Kerala Congress M, Kerala Congress J, Joseph, the other Janadhipatya of Kerala Congress. They're like, what are you saying, sir? And they are writing next day. So it's also a responsibility as a media specialist, whether you're interested in sports or elections or foreign relations, build some expertise, understand. And I'm also happy to share that we talked a lot about internship. We also offer internship. And if you want to get a glimpse of research, public policy, governance, please join. Internships are there. Please come visit our website. Please join us. Thank you.
With that, we come to the close of this insightful session. As was mentioned earlier, the transition from the media industry into academia is always deeply valued, and Aparna ma'am, our faculty member, stands as a wonderful example of that. As we come to the close of this session, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our esteemed moderator, Dr. Sridharan sir, for guiding the discussion with such clarity and depth. Now, as a token of appreciation, I would like to request Aparna ma'am and Dinesh sir to kindly come forward and present the mementos. May I first invite our moderator, Dr. Sridharan sir, to please come forward. Next, I invite Dr. Shakila ma'am to kindly come forward. May I now invite Dr. Arun Shyamnath sir to kindly come forward. I request Dr. S. Arulchelvan sir to please come forward. Finally, may I invite Dr. S. Jayaprakash sir to kindly come forward. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. With that, we come to the end of the session. I extend our sincere thanks to our moderator, Dr. Sridharan sir, and our panelists, Dr. Shakila T. Shamsu ma'am, Dr. Arun sir, Dr. S. Arulchelvan sir, and Dr. S. Jayaprakash sir for their valuable insights. Thank you to the audience as well for being a part of this session.